Don't do this. Don't do what I did. I made a big mistake in trucking, and I'm here to tell you about it. So the other day I was delivering to a facility called Sigma, the Sigma network. They're like a food chain delivery facility. They got multiple facilities across the country. They're a bad place to be. As many of you know, you got places like Kroger, some Walmarts, and so many more other facilities that will literally keep you there all day, and they don't care. You'll get there, the lumpers will take forever, then you'll have a big lumper bill, and no one just, it almost seems like they really have disregard for us drivers, and it gets really aggravating. I mean, we got to keep it professional, and we do, but when it comes down to us making money or us losing money, you know, they would care about their business too. So they would want to, they would feel the same way. But in regards to this facility and to the title of this video, don't do this in trucking. Well, I had my week planned out. I don't always do that, but it's kind of nice to do that. Unless you're running coast to coast, then you don't got a plan. You can just do one load and one load back. But because the holidays and the rates were paying so good, I had like $4 a mile loads booked leading up until almost today, and I would be home today. You guys already know, I'm sure, and girls already know this, but it's so simple, but it was so aggravating, and I had to put a video out there about it. Don't be late. That's not what you thought, right? I know. Well, so I actually wasn't late. I really wasn't late. But then again, I was late. It's kind of a catch-22. I was late by their standards. So I get to the Sigma network. If any of you have been there, at this particular one in Danville, Illinois area, or Champaign, Illinois, it's a freaking mess, okay? You can get lucky and you can get out quick, but 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be there all night. People get there at 8 o'clock, right? When you get up to this facility, all the drivers are parked on the side of the road. There's no parking. You're on the road. It's kind of off busy streets and stuff, but still you're parking on the road, on the side of the road, on both streets. And then there's these signs above every, probably, I don't know, 20 yards saying, call the lumper so-and-so at, we open at 8. Well, really, they'll tell you they open at 9, but they do open up at 8, so you can call at 8. Your appointment has to be 15 minutes prior to your, you have to call, they will take you in 15 minutes prior to your delivery appointment. So if your appointment is at 9, then they'll take you at 8:45. And they are pretty strict, depending on how busy they are. So I had an appointment for 11. It was a straight through run. I picked up in Tennessee, and it was straight through to Illinois. I think it was like 6. I parked, and I had 1 hour. I think I got there at like 9:30. So I had an hour and a half, some change, until I could check in. And I fell asleep. My phone died, which is my alarm, and it died while I was asleep, so no alarm. I wake up, it's flipping it's like 2:55 in the morning. Guess what time they leave? 3 a.m. You got it, you guessed it, I was late. So I quickly call, I'm fumbling around, I call, and she's like, what's your PO? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, ma'am, I'm pretty late. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And she's like, well, what's your PO? And yeah, well, so we close at 3. I was like, oh no. I'm like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, we don't really work with Sigma. And so basically she told me I had to come back tomorrow. And she knows as well as I know that tomorrow means you want me to wait all the way until tomorrow night at 8. so that's basically what happened. I had to go down a few miles down the road and park, and then not only did that mess up my whole week, so I had to sit over more than 24 hours to wait for them to come back. I had to get an appointment rescheduled and I couldn't do that until the next day, and it took forever for the broker to do that. And so I'm just sitting here like not knowing how long I'm gonna be here. It was just a mess, man. So a $1,500 load ended up paying me $1,200 because I had to pay a $200 rescheduling fee for Sigma. Oh no, that load was $1,405, and so I ended up only making $1,200 on that load because I had to pay a $200 rescheduling fee. Is what it is. I could have probably argued that and made the broker pay for it, but I wasn't trying to do. But okay, so when I get into the facility the following night, I ended up getting an appointment for like 9. And so at this facility, it doesn't matter who's in line. You could be first in line, like closest to the gate. They don't do that there. They don't care, which is messed up. They should, but they don't, because you have to call that number. You have to call the lumper number, and they get there at 8. So say you've been there for freaking 10 hours and you're first in line and you're ready till they get in, and your appointment's at like 9, and you should be the first one. Well, you're not going to be, probably, because and then say I come in like 8 hours after you, but I'm the first one to call. That's how, and they'll let me in before you, and then you could end up, and then every person that goes in front of you, you all know this, you can add another hour at least onto the time that you'll be there usually, because however many trucks are ahead of you, generally speaking, it's going to take them at least an hour to unload those guys before they get to you. Okay. And so I get in, and she was about to say, well, I called her at 8 o'clock. I seen a couple trucks go in. I'm like, what the hell? These guys are going in. I've been here for 30 hours, man. I gotta call, because I was gonna wait until 8:45 to call, but then I see they let in a truck, and then there's another truck going. So I'm like, whoa. So I called, and sure enough, she answered, and she's like, what time's your appointment? And I'm like, 9 o'clock. You gotta wait till 8:45. I was like, I completely understand, but remember I was that guy last night that you turned away at about 3 o'clock in the morning and said I'd come back tomorrow? That's me. And she's like, she paused for a second and was like, okay, go to door, I forget, I don't even know, 7 or something, like 8 o'clock, a little bit after 8. So I'm like, sweet. I've already been here way too long, thinking I'm gonna get out soon, but that doesn't happen, because I was the first. Well, there was that one truck ahead of me, but yeah, so I was the second one in. And what happens when you get the door, you back into your door, and then you pay the lumper. So you have to, she'll give it to you on the phone, how much it's gonna be, and I had that $200 rescheduling fee. And so I had to then get on the phone with the broker with their after hours, because I couldn't pay with a credit card. You have to pay by check or cash. So long story short, I had to wait an hour and a half just to get my lumper situated with the broker and all that good stuff. And then I finally got offloaded, and I think I was out of there at like 2 or 3 in the morning. But the guys that came in after me, I have a feeling were there for a very long time, because there was tons of drivers, and it was just a mess there. I hope I never go back there. We all know, I know you know, and have been to places like that yourself, and you hope to God you never go back there. But unfortunately, sometimes we go back there because we got to keep our trucks moving, and we got to make money. There's a Kroger in Michigan that is pretty much just like that. You literally are going to wait 2 hours in line. You can't turn off your truck, because you're constantly, you sit every time they let a truck in, about half hour another one leaves out. So every time the truck moves, you got to move your truck, and it's just you got to go in a long loop around the whole building to finally just get in line. And so I try to avoid that place, but to keep the truck moving, sometimes to get me back home, I have to take a load to there. So it is what it is. It sucks. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. You know, I wish that part of the industry would change, where they have more regard for the OTR drivers, but you know, everybody's got a job to do, and I just try to look at it as, you know, like they're trying to get their work done too, you know, and maybe they are busy, maybe they aren't, maybe they're just lazy, but I don't know. It is what it is. It sucked. It ruined my whole week. Let's just be honest. That last video, I was feeling really good, man. After that happened, it just, my whole week went to the pooper, because then I still got great rates coming. I ended up $8,000 still, but it was a pain in the ass. It was a mess, and I had to run hard, trying to make up time and money, and just, you know, when you experience a bad shipper like that, or a bad receiver, at least for me, it puts me in a bad mood, man. And it's hard to come out of it for me, because I'm constantly thinking about what I could have done different, and shoulda, woulda, coulda. But just got to get over it and move on. And I was gonna stay out and make this like a 10 grand week, or just, you know, because I want to run while the rates are hot, and to try to make up for this mess of a week from that shipper. I was gonna keep running and not go home, but I found a good paying load to go home, and I'm like, screw it, dude. I need to go home, be with my family, and just regroup and start back over next week. So that's what I'm doing. Getting ready to roll out right now. I wanted to make a video about what not to do. One of the main things is not be late. It's my fault, you know. Essentially, it's no one else's fault that happened, because if I would have just stayed up and gone into the facility at my original time, I probably would have been out of there. Everything would have worked out. The week would have been great, but I messed up. So don't be late to your appointment.